Coming to you live in a world where Andy and David aren't obsessed with John Cena.
Not
This
true.
is Jailbreak Weekly, episode number 35, and I'm here with my co-hosts, Mr. David Burns.
What's going on, Justin? How are you?
I'm good, and I'm also here with Andy Hoff.
How you guys doing?
It could be better. I mean, these constant John Cena references and everything are starting to kind of get on my nerves a little bit. But no, I'm
They're
just
wearing
kidding.
on you. Yeah.
Just kidding. I'm doing
I
great.
think Justin's trying to be like, I really don't want to get mad at you, but he's trying his hardest not to just completely flip out.
So how's your guys' this week's been?
It's been good. I have a good week ahead. I have school vacation, so it should be very relaxing
what?
for me. Yeah.
What?
Lucky.
What?
Wait, is it because you're going to see colleges or?
No, I think most schools seem to have a vacation in March, but I have a vacation in April and February.
So
You got
this is-
February and April?
Wait,
What?
so this is your
Yeah.
spring break for you?
Pretty much, yeah.
And what's February? Your American
February
wimpy
break,
thing
that's
break?
what we call it.
No, I'm
Well,
just kidding.
To be completely honest, I maybe other schools have that across the U.S., but my school is just cut and dry. It's you got spring break, you got winter break, you got summer break, and then that's pretty much it. And then also there's also teachers and service days, so there's one maybe 2 days off. If we get lucky, and then sometimes the annoying part is if there's a snow. Thankfully, it didn't snow that much this year, so this didn't happen. But sometimes if it snows a lot and we have snow days, they actually take off the in-service days, so we actually have to be in school instead of having off.
See, because I'm a senior, I don't have to make up snow days because
Yeah.
I get out a month early, and we only got one, so I'm kind of disappointed. I could have.
Yeah,
missed
I don't
much
even
more
think we
school.
got any. I think we might have got one, if that. I don't.
I
Even
got
think
one
we
and it
got
rained. So.
Man, you guys I can't believe this. You get off a month early if you're in grade 12 and all this stuff.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen up here. Honestly, that does not happen up here. But yeah, I mean, it's been good. So we don't really have too much actual news to talk about just because, there hasn't really been anything huge in the past few days. If you want to interact with us in the chat, you can do so if you're watching the live stream right now. Additionally, you can interact with us on Twitter at JB_weekly, or you can leave the hashtag jailbreaklive in your tweet, and we will try to get to that later in the show. So because we don't have any news, we're going to go straight into tweaks here. Andy, what do we got?
Yeah, so decent tweaks this week. First up is Volume Mixer 2 for iOS 9. This is available for 99 cents. This is a really neat tweak. So basically, it lets you manage all of your audio options for different, particular things within one menu. So basically, there's the ringer. Of course, there's your ringer volume, there's your audio speaker volume, there's your headphones volume, there's your Bluetooth headset volume if you have one, and then there's your phone call volume. So I know you might not think there's that many, different scales, but there are, and they are all separately. And the only time that you could adjust each thing is when you're within that particular task. So, for example, if you're listening to music through your headphones, you're not going to be able to adjust your ringer with the volume buttons. So this tweak basically, after you install it, you set an activator gesture, you perform the gesture, and it gives you all 5 of the sliders, and you could adjust all of them, from one interface, no matter what you're doing. So it's just, I've had this issue before, just a couple of days ago, as a matter of fact, before I even noticed this tweak. I was listening to music, and I wanted to, make sure my ringer was all the way up, and I couldn't do that. So this completely fixes that issue, and I really like this. So what do you guys think?
Yeah, I really like this. I know for me, a lot of times, for whatever reason, my ringer gets turned down, and then I always want to turn my ringer back up because when I set an alarm, I won't hear my alarm if my ringer is down, right?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I need to turn my ringer back up. So yeah, I think that this is absolutely fantastic. I'm
Great.
very, very excited about this this tweak.
So what about you, David?
I'll tell you one thing. When my iPhone was jailbroken, back when I had a jailbreak on it, months and months ago, this would have been something I really would have loved to use.
I love this tweak.
Yeah, no, but
Rub it
one of
in,
the reasons
Andy, rub it
one
in.
of the reasons why I say that is I'm referring back to a previous episode. If you guys remember, I'm not gonna like fully get into the story, but my ringer broke, like the ringer switched, so this really would
Don't take your iPhone in the shower. That's
Yes.
why he
That's the
took his
moral of the story.
iPhone in the shower. That's why he didn't want to get into the full story. He took his
Why
iPhone into
you
the
ever
shower.
did that? I don't know why you ever thought that was a good idea.
Okay, well,
I have
it's
to say.
because it's because my friends that I've talked to, some of my friends that I've talked to, like do that.
David.
So I was like, all right, let's just see what happens.
David, do your
Tech
friends
rats.
have broken iPhones right now?
Yes, maybe, no, I don't know. I actually really don't know, to be completely honest.
I think that's the answer that we're looking for here.
I don't know. Regardless, though, never take your iPhone in the shower or your Apple Watch, even though Apple Watches are water resistant. Don't do it.
It's not worth it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and so then you could have used this tweak to adjust your ringer, right? Yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah. Because the switch
Yeah.
is
So,
like-
anyways, once again, it's
Yeah.
it's Volume Mixer 2. It's available for 99 cents. So
Volume Mixer, did they have this tweak before?
There must have been an earlier version.
yeah.
I have no recollection of it.
I
I'm just gonna
don't
go ahead and check it
either,
real quick.
and I really would have liked this tweak. I wish I would have known about this tweak.
Yeah, there was an original Volume Mixer.
Wow.
So yeah, this is the
I
iOS 9
can't
version.
believe I didn't know about this tweak. That's crazy.
So yeah, once again, this one is Volume Mixer 2 for iOS 9. So next up, we have Pause After Call. This is a free tweak, and this solves a very common issue. And this is just kind of coincidentally another issue that I've experienced lately. So basically, when you're playing music and you receive a phone call, right? You take the phone call and you hang up. Generally, that music will continue playing directly after you hang up the phone call. And I was in my car the other day, and I was playing music. I received a phone call, and then I left the car. I was talking for a while, and I hung up, and then I was like out in this public space in a restaurant, and the music started blasting. So, what do you guys think?
Yeah, this is nice. I don't know. Personally, for me, I like having my music resume after I hang up the call, just because usually when I get calls, I'm not out in the public. I'm at home.
Right.
And if I get calls when I'm out in the public, I'll just kind of not answer them and send a text just saying like, hey, what's up, kind of thing. So for me personally, I don't have much use from this, but I can definitely see like there would be a huge segment of the community that this could benefit for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Well, what about you, David?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a good tweak. It's free, so you can't really complain about free.
Exactly, yeah.
And then another thing is that, I mean, if it's like, I mean, it depends on, is it just like, see, here's what I'm wondering. What I'm wondering is it just like, I'm wondering if it's just music or if it's also like podcasts and stuff that this
That's a good
applies to?
question. I would assume that it works with podcasts. I've only tested it with music.
Yeah,
but it probably works.
That's actually a good question, because I know, for example, like if you're listening to a podcast or if you're listening to music that's explicit in nature, and you tend to listen to a lot of that kind of thing, or any media that's like really explicit in nature, like, that might not be ideal when you end the call for that to come out, especially if you're in your workplace or a place like school, right? So
Right.
I can definitely see the benefit of this tweak, like I said.
So I have an update in the description. It says it's compatible with most third-party App Store apps, and it says it may not work with the stock music app. I use Spotify, so it works good for me.
Yeah.
But,
Okay, interesting.
There you go.
But that says may, so that's no guarantee that it won't work or anything. It just says that it may not. So
Right.
Well,
Yeah,
you know what? The more third-party apps / stock apps that this works for is just good anyway.
the
so.
better. Yeah, exactly.
For sure. So once again, this one's available for free. Pause after call. Definitely check it out. So next up, we have Molar. This one's available for $1.99. This is a very interesting tweak. So basically, you know how on the iPad Pro, if you have the smart keyboard, there's various keyboard commands you could do. For example, you could hit Command H to close, exit out to the home screen. There's various other commands. My favorite is Command Tab to like open up a little quick switcher-like thing.
Yeah.
This basically allows you to have that functionality or similar functionality to that on your iPhone. So you install Molar, you hook up your Bluetooth keyboard to your, non-iPad Pro device, and you have the ability to have that same style quick switcher with Command Tab. And it's funny, I had this Bluetooth keyboard that was like buried at the bottom of a drawer. I took it out, and I don't know. This works. I don't really know how I would use this because I'm using it on an iPhone. It's pretty small, but I don't know. Maybe you have a plus-sized iPhone and you keep it in landscape mode and you want to mount it. I could see uses for
Does
this
this
for sure.
only work on the 12.9 inch, or does this work on like the minis and stuff as well for iPad? Because
Like the stock feature? Do you mean?
yeah.
That's a good question. See, I don't have an iPad. On
Yeah,
me, so
me
I won't be able
neither.
to tell you.
Because I could see this working very well on like an iPad mini, say, where usually iPad mini keyboard or users carry a keyboard because it's big enough that it's usually a device that you're using for some type of productivity, right?
Right.
So yeah, same thing. Like for me, I don't have an iPad, and quite frankly, I don't have a need for one, just because a lot of what I do is based on the computer, like really heavy audio editing and music and that kind of thing. And while Apple has made leaps and bounds with that on the iPad Pro, it's not up to
Still
speed
not,
for
yeah.
what I need yet. So, but it's interesting because with VoiceOver, being a blind user of this kind of technology, it's really interesting because some of these commands we had before when VoiceOver was enabled. Like for example, I know you
Really?
were saying Command H takes you to the home button, or takes you to the home screen now. For us, with VoiceOver, it was always Control Option H, and that would take you to the home button. And you could always do that. So then you could get into the app switcher, like it would simulate a press of the home button. So we've always had this, and I find that especially on a big device like an iPad, it's useful. I could see it being useful maybe if you're using your iPhone for work, maybe like for Microsoft Word or something like that. But otherwise, I can't really see the use for it. But I'm sure someone could.
Yeah, and again, I'm not entirely sure if Apple has this kind of functionality with even like the iPad Air lineup.
Yeah.
I'd really have to test that out. I'm definitely going to look into it some more because I'm curious, but I don't know. It's there for some people, and I do know people who do use Bluetooth keyboards with their iPhones. It's usually the older crowd who are frustrated with virtual keyboards, but
Actually, could you imagine? I don't think they still make these, but do you guys remember those typo keyboards? They called it a typo. It was like a BlackBerry keyboard case for
think
your
so.
iPhone. So it was like
Yeah,
it was
no,
endorsed
I
by like
do.
Ryan
And there was that
Seacrest,
huge-
and like
yeah,
they got
there's-
sued huge
yeah,
money
yeah,
because they
yeah,
copied.
that-
But can you imagine like being on your typo with your iPhone and then just like using your typo to control your phone? Like I don't know.
Did anybody actually really buy into that though? Like
I bought one actually. I have one for my 5S.
Really.
Yeah,
How did that-
I do. Yeah.
Did that work
Wow.
like somewhat okay?
I wasn't as big of a fan of it as I thought I was gonna be. I think it's a really cool idea. I don't know. I've always been raised on touchscreens, so for me it
Right.
was like, whoa, this is weird.
yeah.
But I
Yeah,
think
it just depends on what
definitely
you're
could
used
work
to.
for some people. But I think that's so many people are using touchscreens now that like
Yeah.
with
It's just
something
kinda-
like this, you can't really. I don't know. With something like this, like a keyboard case, I don't know anyone that has a keyboard case on their phone right now.
Right. It's just kind of like that era of like QWERTY style keyboards is like gone for phones. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, you could have a super old phone that's got that type of keyboard, but if you have an iPhone or an Android phone that's somewhat modern from the last few years, chances are you don't have.
Well, I wouldn't say that because BlackBerry does make Android phones that have
yeah,
keyboards, and there
I
are
know,
a couple other
but how
ones.
many
But
people
yeah.
actually buy BlackBerry still?
Hey, you're messing with my Canadian pride over here. Come on, bro. No,
Okay.
just I'm kidding. No. But yeah, I mean, overall, I think it looks like going back to what we were talking about. I think the tweak looks really, really nice overall. So
Yeah, it does what it says. Again, like I'm using it on the iPhone 6s Plus, and if I somehow lean this up against something in landscape mode, it's semi-usable. But then again, that's always my problem with Bluetooth keyboards and iOS devices. The fact that there's no mouse, I just don't really see the point, because all the interaction you're going to be doing is on the screen. So it's just kind of a extra
see, that's
step.
interesting because with VoiceOver on a Bluetooth keyboard, there is actually a point because you don't have to touch the screen. Like you could literally
Oh, I
sit
gotcha.
there with voiceover and not have to touch the screen.
That's funny.
Like,
There's another tweak that kind of fixes that. I remember. I'm gonna look that up real quick because like it lets you like control your app icons. Like you could
yeah,
hit the arrow keys.
yeah.
I gotta find
Anyone
that
know
real
what that's called in the chat? Say in the chat if you know what that's called.
I'm
Yeah,
looking
there's
at it
your
right now.
trivia
Save,
question of the
yeah.
week. What is that tweet called?
Yeah, what's that tweet?
Key hook. There you go.
yeah.
Oh, Andy, you stole the question from the chat.
Wait, what was the tweak? I like completely missed that.
Key hook.
Key
Yeah.
hook. Oh,
hook.
okay. Yeah, I remember hearing about that.
You
yeah,
stole
okay.
the Andy.
Yeah,
I can't
it's-
believe this. Andy stole our question from the chat. We're
Well, you know
sorry
what,
to our our
we'll-
live
sorry.
streamers about that.
It's okay. We'll have questions that we can ask the chat soon anyway.
Yeah,
So.
Hopefully, yeah.
I
Trivia
see a lot of
question, yeah.
people. Yeah, I see a lot of people in the chat talking about ENTW, asking if he's fake, saying more things about if a jailbreak's going to come soon. We talked about that heavily last week, so if you want to go to last week's show, you'll hear that. But basically, basic consensus on ENTW is that he's fake, but is that he doesn't have anything. Really, because I mean, if he did have anything, we probably would have seen something by now. It's just kind of like wouldn't you think if he had something, we would have seen something? But we
There's really
don't
no
know.
way to tell.
Yeah.
I mean, he supposedly sold his exploits to China, but the only way to tell if he's legitimate is if someone comes out from China, releases a jailbreak, and credits him. But we just don't know if that's going to happen. So honestly, there's no real way to tell at this point. But anyways, Molar, back to Molar, I guess.
Yeah.
Molar.
It's available for $1.99.
Cool.
So we got one last tweak. This one's SmsSave. This one's free as well. Basically, this lets you. Let's say you have got one particular iMessage or text message from someone. This lets you save it so you could refer back to it. Basically, you tap and hold on the individual bubble, and then you have the option to save. It adds a new option. So you select save. It tells you that the message has been saved, and on the conversations list, the main view, up at the top, you'll have a new little star, and it looks native. It looks like it belongs there. And when you click on that, it'll basically show you all the messages that you saved. They could be old, new, however long they've been there. You could tap on them. It'll tell you basically who sent it to you and the date and the time and everything. And it works. It doesn't necessarily look native. Like once you actually click the star, it kind of like the graphical interface is a little bit strange looking, but it gets the job done. And if you want to save messages, this is definitely your best bet. So, what do you guys think?
I'm a little bit confused
yeah.
exactly how this would be useful, just in general, because
Like, for example, let's say you got a message from someone. Maybe it was like a password to an account, or maybe it was the time you're going to meet someone in like several days, and you just want to save it so you don't have to scroll back, Like, I guess that could be in this case.
Okay. So it's basically like kind of like you're starring the message is like important.
Pretty much.
That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I see use for this.
I don't just because I usually copy and paste that stuff out to my notes anyway.
Yeah. Same here.
Like
yeah. Okay. That's. I don't know. Like
I don't know.
I have
Personally, I don't see a huge market for this this tweak, like a huge use case.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah. I mean, I totally understand what it does, and, like, I understand, like, why somebody would want to use this. I just don't know how big of a market there is for people to use this.
Yeah, same here.
Huh. Yeah, I see your perspective, but it's convenient. Let's say you don't want to clutter up your notes. Maybe you just want like message related content in the Messages app. I could see that happening. But
Yeah,
again,
now,
you can easily not use the tweak as well.
The one issue though is what happens if you have to restore and you lose your jailbreak.
Yeah, then you can't. Yeah.
Right? Like
Well,
because,
I mean,
because this
say
is
that about
jailbreak
any-
tweak, what happens if you have to restore and you lose your jailbreak?
well, the
see,
messages are
yeah.
still there. They're just not starred.
Exactly
Yeah.
though. That's the thing, right? So then you got to go back through the messages and look for them again.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
you could say that about any tweak, though. You know what I mean? If you think
See,
about
the
it.
interesting thing would be if they had like a companion type app for like if you're not jailbroken, so that way maybe you have a login and you can like use the jailbreak tweak, and then I mean I guess theoretically there wouldn't need to be a jailbreak tweak if there's like a companion app, but if there's a companion app and then you could save the messages when you're jailbroken, and then when you're not jailbroken, you can log in with whatever
thing
login
with
you have.
that is I don't know if you could actually do that because that would require uploading the iMessages to a separate server. off of Apple's servers, and I
Right.
don't think that iMessage's policies would allow for that, but that's just a guess, based on how Apple does things.
Right. No, well, I mean,
Yeah.
but then, I mean, they're saved on the server, but aren't they saved also locally, like cached locally on the device, so they can theoretically be picked from
Yeah. Oh yeah.
the device?
Yeah. They
Yes,
definitely are.
yes, they are. But what I'm saying is that if you wanted to save them, even if they were cached locally on the device, they would have to be uploaded to a
Right,
server,
okay. I see what
right?
you're
And
saying.
that
Yeah.
server is not
Other than
Apple's
Apple. Yeah,
Apple's
yeah.
server. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know the technical details of iMessage, but
Right. So basically, if something like that was created, Apple would shoot it down instantly. Like they always do.
I don't know. I'm just saying theoretically that would be
Yeah.
something that might
Yeah.
come up. But
Well,
But,
anyway,
yeah.
it's interesting idea, interesting tweak.
And I might keep this installed. I don't know. There is the whole thing. Like, yeah, I do keep a lot of this stuff in my notes. And generally, if it's important enough, I'll want to keep it permanently. But this is kind of like a good, if you want to keep something for a little bit, maybe it's just like
Yeah.
a location. You could just keep it in there. But
yeah.
anyways, it's free, so you have nothing to lose. It's called SmsSave. And with that,
SmsSave.
yeah, that wraps up our tweak list.
Nice.
Yeah.
So this is the time. It's time, ladies and gentlemen, for the user question segment of our podcast. So, like I said earlier in the show, you can interact with us in the chat right now, or you can mention us on Twitter at JB_weekly, or you can also use the hashtag JailbreakLive to get in contact with us. So do we got any questions in the chat?
I'm going to have a look on Twitter right now.
There
it's
is one
Twitter.
question on Twitter. I was wondering if you wanted to touch on that. I mean, we've touched on this so many times at this point throughout like the past few weeks that I don't know how many more times we can say it.
Yeah, it's just the jailbreak
Lem-
status for 9.2.1.
Yeah.
We already covered that. Basically, we
Yeah.
don't really know. No one knows until something's released. And if we do get
Yeah.
news, we'll mention it.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Oh, yeah.
And that's kind of, for the most part, for the questions that I see in the chat, that's kind of like the theme here is like asking if there's any jailbreak news, asking, when a jailbreak is going to come out. That's pretty much what I see here.
Yeah, no, the reason we went straight into tweaks this week, guys, is because there is no real news on the jailbreak front. And see, this is the problem, right? Is you have these teams like, Evaders, for example, who were very communicative with the community. They, they had a lot of interaction with the community, and these Chinese teams just don't really have that much interaction with the North American community, right? So that's the issue that we currently face in the jailbreaking community, and unfortunately, because of that, we don't know when a jailbreak drops, or when a jailbreak is going to drop. Like the only way we know is if they put something out, which they haven't done.
Right. Exactly.
Just wanted to give a shout out to at Jailbreak on Time. Thank you so much for the shout out. It is very much appreciated. And yeah, do you have any more questions?
We'll give you guys like 30 more seconds to get questions in, and if we don't have any more, then we'll end off the show.
Sounds good.
see.
Yeah, there were some good tweaks in this list.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think there
definitely
were
so.
some nice nice tweaks for sure.
And I mean, the cool thing is that also, like, I don't know. I mean, it's pause after call. Like, the fact that that's free, I like, because I mean, it's a good tweak. That's a good idea. It's a good idea for a tweak. And
Okay, wait. I came up with a trivia question. You gave me an idea because Andy stole the chat's trivia question.
all right,
I came up-
to make a new one.
I came up with a new one now. So,
All right, what's the question?
your trivia question is, ladies and gentlemen in the chat, what tweak was released in iOS 7 and allows you to end calls with your home button?
Man, I don't even know this.
I don't know that. You guys,
No one's gonna know that.
we'll shout you out. We'll
I don't
shout
know
you out
if
on the
you
show
get
you guys
this
can
right.
answer this.
Yeah, if you get this right, we will give you a shout out on Twitter.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna set
Do
my
you
stopwatch.
even know the answer?
Yes,
It's like
yes, I
you don't
do.
even know the answer.
No, I do.
Yeah, does this even exist?
Yes, no, this is a thing.
Wait, okay, so remind us again what this is.
What tweak was released in iOS 7 and allows you to hang up calls with your home button?
I
really
might
don't
have an
know.
idea, but it's kind of like I don't know if it's even real.
I don't know if it's compatible with iOS 9 or not, but it was released in iOS 7.
Yeah, chat's pretty quiet. I don't think anyone.
So
has
if anyone
any-
listening to this, the edited version, please hit us up on Twitter at JB_.
Yeah, if
weekly
you know
with
the
your
answer to that.
Yeah, if you know,
Yeah.
please just like let us know. Because I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know that either.
Well, I'll tell you what. We'll give them the week, and then what we'll do is next week we'll have the trivia segment again with the new question. And before we give the new question, we'll answer this one. Does that make sense to you guys?
Okay.
Oh,
Sounds
somebody answered. So I don't know if this is it.
Okay,
But
okay.
David Yai said home key hang up. I don't
That
know if
is
that's it.
absolutely correct.
good. Oh my
ding,
god.
ding, 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 ding. David
Holy
Yai,
crap.
you are the winner of the trivia question. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
You are getting shouted out on Twitter. Do you have a Twitter handle? Because please post it. Cause
Yeah, exactly.
You want to do the honors, Justin, since it was your question?
What do you mean do the honors?
No, I'm saying of shouting him out on Twitter.
Oh, well, I can't see his Twitter handle in the chat, but sure.
Yeah, no. I'm
Oh.
saying like if they shout him out on Twitter.
Yeah.
I'm saying if he's
Yeah.
provides his Twitter handle, whatever.
Yeah.
Just
Well, if you
basically-
don't have Twitter,
yeah.
we're just gonna shout your name out. So.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, he says he does have Twitter. So
Perfect.
what is your Twitter, David?
Key
Yai?
hangups. Yeah,
Perfect.
that's kind of an interesting idea. I don't think I would use it because I often end up pressing the home button and using my phone when I'm on a phone call. But
Yeah, I mean, it's,
Yeah.
yeah.
See,
Was this a free tweak? I'm hoping it was free.
I think it is now. It used to cost money, and I think it's free now.
Really.
Yeah.
I don't know. It sounds like something so simple that it's like you probably could do it with Activator if you found the right way and the right
I
means.
don't
to do it.
actually know if you can.
I don't know.
I don't think Activator
I
has
don't
the
know.
option to,
I
like,
don't
hang
think
up
you
calls.
can now. But
I
I'm
don't
saying,
think
like,
you can.
Yeah, no. It's one of these things. I'm saying that like. If it would, you would think it would have the type of functionality.
Actually,
to be
that's a
able to do
good
that.
idea. I'm gonna try to contact Ryan Petrich and get that requested as an option in Activator to hang up phone calls because they broke it in iOS 9, so the lock button doesn't hang up the phone call anymore.
really,
Yeah.
Which sucks because when I'm using VoiceOver, my phone freezes when I'm on a phone call.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay. So his Twitter handle is at
yeah,
David
I'm
Y.
doing it right now.
Okay.
Perfect.
All right. So we will shout you out. Awesome job, man. I did not even know the answer
Yeah,
to that.
that's impressive.
So great work. Crazy.
Yeah.
That's just like was this tweak popular at all? Like I don't know.
I used it.
Okay, I just like did not know this tweak. Maybe
Yeah.
it's because iOS 7 was so long ago. Maybe
Yeah.
I did know it back on 7, but it was
Yeah.
so long ago.
Yeah,
that
no,
just-
I used it. So
Yeah, and the thing is, don't you still have a device that's on 7
yes,
jailbroken?
yes, I
Yeah.
do. Yeah,
So do you have that tweak installed?
yeah,
on,
I actually do
yeah.
have that tweak installed on that device. Yeah.
Right. Well, that's what so. Yeah. Okay. So that makes sense. That's probably the reason why you remember it.
Okay, guys. Well, if we have no more questions in the chat, I think that pretty much wraps up the episode. So, thank you guys so much for listening. We really appreciate you watching on the live stream. Tune in next week. We will be back next week for another show and more news, hopefully, and more tweaks and another trivia question. I like this this trivia
Yeah.
this trivia
This is a good
segment that
idea.
we do at the end of every
It's-
episode. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a good idea to do. Well, it's a good idea just to do in general, but especially now when we don't have any real good news to talk about. When it's just
we
tweaks.
don't want to make our podcast boring for you guys. So
Yeah.
and that's another thing. If there's any feedback that you guys have on the podcast, you can always contact us on Twitter.
Yes.
Like we said, our handle's at JB_weekly. So thank you guys so much for listening. And with that, I think that ends this episode. So talk to you guys later. Peace out.
Later,
See ya.
guys.